Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here with us today. And welcome to Machine Design Summit Online 2022 Workshops Autodesk Inventor Infinite Possibilities. I am Mario Inzon and I will be your host for today. We are very honored to have Mechaniweb as our instructor and partner for today's event. For those who do not know, Mechaniweb is Autodesk's authorized academic partner in the country. They prepare students for career success by providing mechanical, web design solutions, and computer-aided design or CAD training. Like this one. For this workshop, it will highlight the use of Autodesk Inventor, a CAD software that provides 3D mechanical design, product simulation, and product creation. It can aid in visualizing a product before it is even built. With that said, I hope we maximize this opportunity to learn more and or improve our knowledge in mechanical and 3D design, especially as there is a Q&A session after the workshop proper to answer your questions. Now, to formally start the program, let us all welcome Miss Gabriela Zamora for the opening remarks.
Hello? Narinig na ba ako? Hello? Okay. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. So, first of all, I would like to thank each and everyone currently watching CAD for Dummies Autodesk Inventor. So, may it be Facebook Live, YouTube, or via Twitch. So, yes, welcome, and I hope you are just as excited as I am to learn more about CAD. So, just a really short story. So, truth be told, learning how to use CAD is one of the most interesting subjects I have taken in my 3 years of studying engineering. And walang halong bola yan because for one, it is a subject optimized for online class as it primarily involves having to use a computer. So alam mo yon yung wala nang learning curve for craving for face-to-face experience since yes, computer-based siya. And that being said, after learning the basics of using it, it provided me a deeper concept as to how machine designing can be further developed and how I have the power and the control to create limitless possibilities with just my imagination and creativity. So, yan ang pinaka-importanteng natutunan ko with CAD. It was able to give me the power to maximize my knowledge in engineering and use it to produce something useful. And I also just want to put it out there na sobrang daming nag-register. So, yung KPI namin, sobrang siya, underestimated. So, beyond 150 for reference and definitely exceeded our expectations of audiences. And it gave us a fresh perspective on why we should and it would probably be better to share it to everyone and not gatekeep it this opportunity via Zoom. And dahil sa GPs and MechaniWeb, through our event MDS Online 2022, we aim to pursue learning and share this fun with everybody. And given all these experiences and newfound understanding of students wanting to learn, I am very happy and we are very, very excited to present and share to you this opportunity to experience having such power and capability through this CAD workshop, CAD for Dummies Autodesk Inventor. And we hope that all of you learn a lot from this opportunity and use your knowledge not just to win interview or inter-high competitions since malaki nga yung cash prize for those competitions. But we truly and sincerely hope that you will be able to use it into shaping the future you wish to create. And that is all. Thank you very much and hope all of you enjoy this opportunity to learn CAD.
Okay. Thank you, Gabby. Astounding naman ng opening remarks natin. Okay. I'm sure it made our participants and viewers excited for this workshop. Okay, moving on, I am honored to introduce to you our instructor for today, who is going to teach us how to navigate and use the Autodesk Inventor software. Our instructor for today is an epitome of brains and hard work. He is a graduate of BS Mechanical Engineering and is a full-time community servant leader for Adobe Educators Philippines. Wow. and he is also an advocate of spreading knowledge in computer-aided design in the country, and that's why he is here with us today. Coupled with an impressive background, he has numerous training licenses and certificates from professional networks such as Autodesk, LinkedIn, and Adobe. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming Engineer Jomark Bakiran. Okay, sir, are we ready? Okay.
Okay. Yep. Thank you so much. Thank you so much once more. Thank you so much, UP Gears and Pinion. So let me share my screen. Okay, so this afternoon we are going to create this simple assembly in Autodesk Inventor. Oh yes, so we have so much things to learn. So yep, let's get started. Okay, let me now launch Inventor 2023, hitting the Windows button, typing in Inventor 2023, selecting this. Okay, the first thing to do before touching Autodesk Inventor is to first, let's create a project folder. So showing you my Windows Explorer, I'm going to create a new folder, Control Shift and N. Okay, naming this as UP Gears Pinions. Okay, hitting enter. Enter once more. Next, I'm going to copy the location of this folder. So I'm going to click here. It's now highlighted in blue. Hitting Control C to copy. Heading back to Inventor. And instead of right away selecting new, I'm going to head over to this ellipses. So this three dots, projects and settings. Okay, selecting settings. Next, I'm going to head over to new. Okay, and I want a new single user project. Selecting next. And recall initially we copied the location of our previous folder. I'm going to head over here. Select this location, hit Control V to paste. Next, I'm going to select finish, or if ever you can rename this. For consistency, I'm going to name this as UP Gears and Pinions as well. And selecting finish. Selecting done. From here, let's now head down and select new. And now we are asked, what do we want to create? Do we want to create a sheet metal, a standard part, an assembly, a drawing, or presentation? So for here, the essentials, of course, of building a mechanical assembly is it all starts with parts. Let's start with the essentials. We're going to create a standard part. Selecting standard. Notice I am in the templates of English, US, and now I'm going to select metric. In this scenario, I prefer metric. Of course, it all depends on what units you want to work with. And with metric, we will be, of course, using millimeters. So heading back to standard once more. In addition, take note, the file name extension for a part in Inventor is IPT. For assembly, the file name extension is .iam. IDW for drawings, IPN for presentations. Heading back, selecting standard. I can double left click here or simply select create. One of the common workflow in creating 3D objects is starting out with sketches and then turning those sketches into 3D. And before we dive in to sketching, let's first discover how to navigate our way. into 3D. Let me quickly create a 3D object. The navigation commands of Autodesk Inventor is the same with AutoCAD. To rotate this cube, it's simply holding Shift and our mouse wheel. So notice the change of our cursor. And now I am moving my mouse once more, holding Shift and pressing our mouse wheel. I am now able to rotate this cube. Release. Next, to zoom in and zoom out, it's simply rolling our scroll wheel. So I'm rolling my scroll wheel. It's now very far away. Okay, moving or turning the scroll wheel towards me. Okay, I am now zooming. So rolling away from us, zooming out, rolling towards us, is zooming in. In addition, to do a fine-tuned zoom in or out, it's pressing F3. Once more, F3. So notice the change in my cursor. With that, I can hold our left mouse button. So simultaneously F3 and left mouse button. I am zooming if I move my mouse towards me. And if I move my mouse away from us, I'm zooming out. So this is a fine-tuned zooming in and out by holding F3 together with your left mouse button. Next, also same with AutoCAD. To pan our way into Inventor, it's simply holding our scroll wheel. So notice once more the change of our icon. It turns into a hand. From here, I am now panning my way into this 3D object. Moving forward, let's discover zoom extents. So I'm going to roll our scroll wheel, moving this too far. So now it's not visible. Okay, so if we want to have a zoom extents or appear this on the entirety of our graphics window, it's simply double clicking our scroll wheel. So once more, double left click our scroll wheel. Okay, it comes back, occupying the extents of our graphics window. Next, I want this cube to be in its home isometric position. It's simply hitting home on our keyboard or heading over to our view cube, selecting this tiny house. Moving forward, we can click on the faces of this view cube to head over to top view. So notice it's highlighted in blue. Left click. We're now into top view. Notice as I hover over the sides of this view cube, it highlights in blue. So let's say I want to be at this view. I'm going to select this bottom edge of top view. Okay? Heading over to this corner of the view cube, we now have another isometric view. Let's head over to front view. And of course, if you want to rotate incrementally, it's simply selecting this curved arrow. So rotating counterclockwise or clockwise. So addition, there's this triangle where we can also left click on to have a different view of our 3D model. Let's now hit F6 on our keyboard to revert back to home view. And lastly, sharing to you the last option to rotate our 3D model is simply hitting F4. Notice as I hit F4, we have this circle and this lines. So notice as I hover over to this line, notice the change of my cursor, and as I left click and move my mouse, okay, I am rotating this object with respect to a vertical axis. Once more, hitting F4. How about this vertical line? So notice once more the change of my cursor. Left click and hold. Okay, I am now rotating this object with respect to his horizontal axis. Okay, heading back to home view once more, hitting F6. And before we proceed to discovering sketching in Autodesk Inventor, let me first give you a quick tour of the user interface. On our top section, so notice this is the typical Microsoft Windows application, which is called the ribbon, and it has some tabs. Okay, all tools are housed in this upper section of our user interface. Okay, on the right, of course, the view cube and the navigation bar, which some of this were already discussed earlier. And notable on this section is at this drop down. At times, we prefer changing the visual style. Let's say going into wireframe. Okay, reverting back to shaded or shaded with edges. At the bottom right, we have some tabs here. So recall, Excel sheets. In this instance, we have a part, but if ever we have multiple parts, assemblies, or drawings here, it will all be populated at this bottom section. Also, in this area is the orientation coordinate system, an indicator of how the model's orientation with respect to our UCS is. In addition, this plays an important role, most specifically when you are importing or exporting files from different CAD applications. Same with 3D printing. Another important section of our user interface is the browser window. So here, Inventor registers the part, features, modifications, tools applied in the creation of our 3D model or assembly or drawing. Notice in this area, okay, as I expand extrusion, we first initially created a sketch. It was registered here as sketch 1. We applied extrusion, registered here as extrusion 1. As you master your way into design, I will be expecting you have realized the ripple effect or how each features relate to each other in creation and revision. And before we proceed to discover sketching and constraints, let me first save this file, hitting Control S. And notice, because we defined the location of our project, we are immediately brought to UP Gears Pinions. So saving this as navigation. Okay, and of course, this is a part. IPT, selecting save. Okay, and just to add, I'm going to bring in our folder. Notice here, we now have that navigation part inside UP Gears Pinions folder together with our Inventor project. Heading back to Inventor. And notice below from part 1, it is also now reflected here as navigation.ipt. Let's now create a new part and discover sketching and constraints in Autodesk Inventor. So let's head up and select new or simply Control N. Again, we are prompted. What type of file do we want to create? Of course, it's in metric and standard millimeter.ipt. Hovering over and double left click. Question: when we say sketch, what does sketch on typically comes into mind? Sketching on. For me, when it's sketching on paper. In Autodesk Inventor, let's consider paper as the plane. And in Inventor, we are initially given 3 papers or planes, which is the YZ, XZ, and XY plane. In addition, we are currently in feature creation mode. To enter sketch mode, we can head up under 3D Model tab, selecting Start 2D Sketch, or simply hovering over any of these planes, let's say XY plane, I can right-click and select New Sketch. The visual cue that we are in sketch mode is the visibility or appearance of this green check mark, which is Finish Sketch. And to add, from 3D Model, we are now in Sketch tab. And notice we have now the tools for creating sketches. Let's say I want to initially create a line. Selecting line, left click here, left click, double left click to end that chain of lines, or simply create a circle, selecting circle, creating a circle here, dropping its center point here, left click once more. And before we discover more of this sketching tools, let's first discover the importance of constraints. Let me head up and let's open a new Inventor file. Okay, I'm going to select Constraints. Double left click on this. And notice once more, we are in the feature creation mode, which is 3D Model. Again, notice the availability of feature creation tools. To enter sketch mode, once more, it's heading up, selecting Start 2D Sketch, but in this scenario, we already have sketches. And it is denoted as Sketch 1 on our browser window. Selecting Sketch 1. Next, I'm going to right-click and select Edit Sketch. Heading over to our view cube, let me rotate this view. Zooming in. Let's focus on this area first. And to add, notice below we now have 3 documents. We have navigation IPT opened. We have an unsaved file, it's part 3. And a constraints.ipt. Moving forward with constraints, let's first discover coincidence. So coincident is simply joining entities together. Let's say our intent is to have this point and this point connected or coincident with each other. I'm going to head up, selecting coincident. Next, selecting this point, left click, selecting this point, left click, hitting escape. So they are now both joined end to end. I can hover over, left click and hold. Notice the effect of that coincident constraint. Let's now discover collinear. Collinear is simply having these two lines lie on the same plane. Selecting collinear, selecting this line and this line, hitting escape. So notice as I move the line on the right, okay, notice the effect. The line on the left together with the line that I am moving are both currently in the same plane. So that's collinear constraint. And as I left click any of these lines, notice the appearance. And as I select these entities, notice the appearance of the collinear constraint icon signifying it's applied to these entities. Moving forward, let's discover concentric constraint. So concentric is simply having the center points of circles or arcs coincident with each other. Let's now select concentric, selecting the circumference or the circle, selecting this circle, hitting escape, and notice once more both of their center points are now coincident with each other. Let's now discover tangent constraint. Heading up, selecting tangent. So notice the appearance of a circle and a line. So same here, we have a horizontal line. Selecting this line and our circle. Hitting escape. Notice as I move our circle, okay, the tip of the circle remains in line with this horizontal line. From here, to reiterate coincident, I can select this constraint. So notice coincident constraint, selecting this circle and this endpoint. And now we have attached the endpoint of this line to our circle. Again, notice the effect of these two constraints with our horizontal line and circle. Let's pan up, holding our mouse wheel. Let's discover perpendicular constraint. So perpendicular, what comes into mind is 90 degree. Selecting perpendicular, selecting this slanted line and this horizontal line. So notice we now have an angle here at 90 degrees. Same with the other side. And to prove that, let's grab our dimension tool. We'll discover more of this later. Dimension tool active, selecting this vertical line and this horizontal line. So notice the projected angle is 90 degrees. Let's discover the effect of symmetry. Selecting symmetry. So symmetry is simply, let's say our symmetry line will be this center vertical line. The effect of this is that these two lines will now have equal distance with this vertical line. So the key for symmetry is first selecting our target entities, selecting this line and this line, and lastly selecting the symmetry, which is this middle vertical line. Notice the appearance of the symmetry constraint. Hitting escape, and as I grab and move this line, notice they are both equidistant to this symmetry line. Next one is equal. Equal is simply making the values. Let's say for this circle, our target is both of this circle to have an equal diameter. It's simply heading up, selecting equal, selecting this circle and this circle. And now they are both having the same diameter. Let's say, to reiterate, we would like these two lines equal in length, selecting both of these lines. They are now equal in length. And same, it applies to arcs as well. And finally, let's discover smooth. In this instance, I have two splines, and I would like this point to have a smooth G2 transmission. Selecting smooth, selecting this spline and this spline. So notice the smooth transition in effect at these two splines. Double click on our mouse wheel to zoom extents. Hitting escape. And from here, let's reiterate the applications of these constraints to our unsaved file. Okay, so hoping you're all still there. And let me share another screen of mine. Before we continue, encouraging everyone to connect with me in LinkedIn. Okay, commenting down the link to my profile. So if ever, guys, you have questions, may it not be related to CAD, but career-wise, okay, business-wise, feel free to reach out to me. And to those who have set an invite, okay, thank you, Mark. Pleased to meet you, Mark. Gabby. Mario. Okay. And before we continue doing a part, I would like to, let's do a quick raffle giveaway. Okay? So, I would like to request everyone to comment down. Okay, on the comment section, I want you to comment down Autodesk Inventor. Okay? Mario, Jerry Lance, and to everyone, comment down. Comment down Autodesk Inventor. Camel case in coding, they call it camel case. Big A, big I. Okay? I'm gonna be collecting comments now. So I'm seeing 10 persons already wrote down Autodesk Inventor. Okay, the price is What's the price? Okay, once more. Yep, 29. Actually, what we are seeing right now, our attendees are around more than 100. So hopefully, all of those 100 will type in Autodesk Inventor. Okay, 55. Okay, so the price is I'll be sponsoring your LinkedIn subscription. So for 3 months. So how much is that? So this is priced at $60 a month. So 3 times 3. So I guess more than 5,000 definitely, right? Okay. And what's on top of that subscription? So that subscription gives you access to LinkedIn Learning. Okay. So LinkedIn Learning is the same with Netflix, but not entertainment. It's education. So for example, you wanted to learn more about Autodesk Inventor. Okay. Creating a quick search now. There's tons of courses here um, that will make you a master, a guru of Autodesk Inventor. Of course, not only Autodesk Inventor, but many softwares. We tour you to creative. How about creative side? So if you would like to know Photoshop, graphic design, architecture, engineering, and construction, rendering, 3D modeling, tons of uh, courses here. Even video editing for those who would like or to upskill, upgame their YouTube videos. Okay? Okay, is this okay now? Are we on? Mario, should I hit draw now? Okay. So, the winner for the LinkedIn Business Premium subscription is Neil Escueta. Okay, congratulations, Neil Escueta. Commenting down. Winner. Okay, how to claim your prize? You have to message me again in LinkedIn that you won before this live stream ends. Okay? The prize is intended for our attendees. Yan. To those who are with us this afternoon. Okay? Message me in LinkedIn Neil Escueta. And in Tagalog, no, wag sayangin. Of course, if you have 24 hours, diba, this is non-stop. So learn as much as you can, acquire knowledge, and if ever you get to finish courses, it has certificates. So hoping to see those certificates in social media. Okay, so let's now go back to Autodesk Inventor, sharing my other screen. Having a clean slate, I'm going to place my cursor here, left click and hold. And now I am creating a window selection. So recall in AutoCAD, or from here at this location, bottom right, left click and hold. Notice the difference. This is now a window crossing selection, same in AutoCAD. Release. With all of this entity selected, I'm simply going to hit delete. From here, highly requesting that you follow along, I'm going to pan over here. Our intent is to quickly recreate this 3D object. Let's start by utilizing the line command. Heading up under create, selecting line. Let's draw a line. Left click here. Left click, left click, left click, and move to the end of this other line, and a double left click to end the chain of lines. Hitting escape. Next, let's create a circle, and instead of going up to create, on the blank area of our graphics window, I'm going to right click to pull out our marking menu. And notice from here we have options. And one of those is center point circle. Left click. I'm going to drop the center point of the circle here. Left click. Hit escape. Next, how about utilizing an arc? Heading up, selecting 3-point arc. I'm going to left click at this corner. Left click here, move to the right, and left click. Hitting escape. Let's create another circle, and this time using the keyboard shortcut, it's Control, Shift, and C. Creating a small circle here that will serve as holes. Hitting escape. Moving forward, let's now add the constraints. So notice the color of our entities, they are all in black. Let's now add the constraints. First, I am seeing this line should be horizontal. Let's head up, selecting horizontal constraint, selecting this line. So notice the appearance of the horizontal constraint. Same with this line. Let's add a constraint. Next, I would like to make sure that this line is perfectly vertical. By default, in Autodesk Inventor, the visibility of the constraints is turned off. To turn the visibility on, it's simply hitting F8. Once more, F8 on our keyboard. So notice a vertical constraint was already applied to this line. And of course, to turn off the visibility of constraints, it's F9. Once more, F8 turning it on, F9 turning it off. Next, I prefer, instead of using vertical constraint, let's utilize perpendicular constraint. Heading up, selecting perpendicular, I would like this line and this line to have a 90-degree angle. Perpendicular constraint applied, hitting escape. Moving forward, let's utilize coincident constraint. Heading up, selecting coincident, selecting the center point of the circle, left click, and searching for the midpoint of this vertical line. So here it is, that green dot. Left click, hitting escape. Next, let's utilize tangent constraint. Heading up, selecting tangent. I would like this circle to be in tangent with this line or this line. Left click. Same also with this arc. In addition, tangent constraints apply smoothness or smooth transition between a circle, arc, and a line. So here, selecting this arc and this line. Hitting escape. I hope by now you have realized that we can move sketch entities by using constraints. And you guessed it right. Instead of using coincident constraint to this circle and this circle, we can utilize concentric constraint. Selecting concentric, selecting this circle and this circle, and of course, we can also select an arc. Hitting escape, and notice these two circles needs to have an equal diameter. So let's now utilize the equal constraint. Selecting equal, selecting this circle and this circle. Hitting escape. Another question. Where do you think is the center of mass? If this was a 3D part, so definitely that center of mass would be lying somewhere around here. If that is the case, as much as we can, we should have that center coincident with our center point as well. And that center point is here. Now that we have the target shape of this sketch, from here we can now add dimensions. So once more, notice or take note the color of our sketch entity. Let me turn on our sketch constraints, hitting F8. Let me hover over the circle, left click and hold. So notice we need to define the diameter of the circle. Let me grab this arc. Notice as well, we need to define the length or the distance of these two lines or two center points. Let's now add dimensions. Heading up to constraint, selecting dimension. I prefer selecting this line, left click, selecting this line, left click. Let's place our dimension here. Left click once more. The distance is 30, hitting enter. Next, zooming in. Dimension tool still active. Let's define the diameter of this hole, or I prefer defining the radius of this arc first, selecting this circle, left click here, and for the value, it's 20, being a diameter dimension. Keying in 20, hitting enter. Let's try to resize our geometry. Let me grab this circle and try to move this. Let's try to move this circle. So notice this one needs to be defined. Hitting D for dimension. Selecting this circle. Left click here. Target diameter to be 10. Selecting the green check mark. Hitting escape. Inspecting. And for the center of the sketch to be aligned with our center point, we need to create a new entity. And that entity, I am seeing it should be a line. So I'm going to hit L for line, creating a line from this point, left click here, moving up to here, double left click, hitting escape. And because this line serves as a construction line or helper, I'm going to select this, right click, and turn this into a construction entity. From here, we can now grab coincident constraint, searching for the midpoint of this line, which is this green dot, left click, and heading over to our browser, selecting center point, left click, hitting escape. So notice from black, the color of our sketch entity is now dark blue. And that means our sketch is now fully defined. From here, we can now exit sketch mode by heading up, selecting finish sketch, or simply right clicking on the blank area of our graphics window, moving down, selecting finish 2D sketch. And before we turn this sketch into 3D, let's first hit Ctrl S and save this as link, hitting enter. Let's turn this into 3D by utilizing Extrude, heading up to create, under 3D model tab, selecting Extrude. We are now prompted to select profiles. And those profiles are this profile, selecting this profile, and this profile. And once more, reiterating the best practice of having the center point at the center or middle. So notice we are extruding to the left, and to have our center point, which is currently here, I'm going to change the behavior and direction of our extrusion to be symmetric. And for our target distance, it will be 10. And from here, we're going to select OK. Congratulations, we have now created our first 3D part model. And to confirm that our center point is really at the center, let me head over to top view and hovering over center point. Notice as well, these are all grayed out, which means their visibilities are all turned off. To turn them on, it's simply selecting any of this origin entities. Let's say XZ plane. I can right click and select visibility. And to turn this off, heading back to our XZ plane, right click and unchecking visibility. And to create the cut extrusion on this location, it's simply repeating the steps we have made before. And this time, instead of creating a sketch on a plane, I'm going to select this face. So notice these icons appear. And from here, I'm going to select the one on the most right, which is create sketch. Next, heading over to rectangle, selecting 2-point center rectangle, dropping our center at our center point, left click here, and left click at this edge, hitting escape, hitting D for dimension. Let's define the distance of these two vertical lines. Let's say I prefer this to be 5, hitting enter, selecting finish sketch, the shortcut key for extrude to be E, and once more, the target is a cut operation. So under Boolean, selecting cut, and I prefer the depth of this cut to be 5 for distance, and selecting OK. And that's the essentials of part modeling in Autodesk Inventor. The next challenge is we are going to recreate this assembly. Notice this assembly has 4 parts, and this part has 2 instances. Let's begin by creating the plate first. Heading back to Inventor, heading up to the left, selecting New, and this time let's have the plate be a sheet metal. I'm going to double left click on the sheet metal, and the key word for sheet metal is constant thickness. So some of the practical applications of sheet metal is your desktop PC casing. Heading back to Autodesk Inventor. With that, let's first define the constant thickness of the sheet metal. To do that, we need to set it up. Let's move up, select sheet metal defaults. Notice the default is currently 0.5. I'm going to select this pencil or edit sheet metal rule. From here, I'm going to select new. And let's rename this to plate, hitting enter. And I want this plate to have a uniform thickness of 15 millimeters. I'm going to leave the defaults, selecting save and close. Selecting cancel. Let's enter sketch mode once more, hitting S, the shortcut for start 2D sketch. We are now prompted to select a plane or planar face. I prefer sketching on our XY plane. Left click. Next, let's grab our 2-point center rectangle, dropping the center point at the origin or center point. Notice the horizontal dimension highlighted in blue. It's currently asking us to input a value. I'm going to key in 120. Let's cycle to the other dimension. I'm going to hit tab and keying in 40. Hitting enter. Double click our scroll wheel to zoom extents. Hitting escape. Next, let's create two circles. Shortcut key for that is Control Shift and C. Let me create this first circle over here. Next one over here. But this time, notice once more that dimension which is currently highlighted. I'm going to key in 10, hit enter. Next, this circle and this circle should have an equal value. Heading up to constraint, selecting equal, selecting this circle and this circle. Hitting escape. Next, instead of adding a constraint to have the center point and the center point aligned horizontally, I'm going to hit L for line and drop the first point at the center point of this circle. Another one at this center point. Double left click, hitting escape. Moving forward, I want this line to be perfectly horizontal. Heading up, selecting horizontal constraint, selecting this line, hitting escape, and this line once more serves as a construction tool. Selecting this line, let's right click, selecting construction, and finally let's head up, selecting coincident, looking for the midpoint of this horizontal construction line, which is this green dot. Left click and selecting our origin. Left click, hitting escape, and let's inspect. Notice the color, which means this is a fully defined. Let's now select finish sketch. And because we are in sheet metal, the option is selecting a face. And that face is this profile. And of course, one of the best practice, making things at the center or middle. I'm going to select both sides for offset direction. Selecting OK. And let me hit M for measure. Selecting this edge and confirmed. It has a thickness of 15 millimeters. Hitting escape. Plate part completed. Let's save this, hitting Control S and naming this to plate. Hitting enter. I'm muted. So, yep. Once more, thank you so much for joining us. Hoping you're still there. And yes, our raffle draw is still up for grabs. Let me share my other screen again. Okay. Requesting everyone to comment down UP Gears Pinions. Okay, and to all who has registered, we will be sharing the 2D drawing challenge for you guys. So it's a fun part modeling and assembly challenge. So hoping to see you all create that fun challenge. Also, not only using Inventor, but hoping you can use other, you're open to use other softwares as well after, of course, after you have uh, had your fun with Autodesk Inventor. Of course, in addition, thank you so much to our official media partner, wheninmanila.com. Okay, shout out also to Sir Ferdinand Manegdeg. Again, thank you so much, UP Gears and Pinions. Guys, I'm here to help. Of course, I'm always here to help. No, encouraging everyone to connect with me in LinkedIn and join our communities. Ayan. Okay, so let's do the raffle draw. The winner for UP Gears Pinions, okay, is okay, the winner is Christian Dave Burgos. Ayan. Muted daw ako. Thank you. Okay, so Christian, please message me before this live stream ends. Okay, so we have one more fun way to go. It will be assembly. So let me again. Let's create another part. This time, our cross link. Heading back to Inventor, hitting Control N for new. Let's revert back to our standard millimeter.ipt, double left click. And I would like to save this right away, hitting Control S, naming this to cross link, hitting enter. Let's enter sketch mode. And I prefer sketching on our XY plane, and instead of hitting S, I prefer to go to our origin plane, hovering over XY plane, right click, selecting new sketch. Let me share a hidden command in the line tool. Actually, in the line tool, we can quickly create an arc as well. So let me hit L for line. I'm going to make my first left click, moving to the right, and from here I'm going to left click and hold to create an arc. So once more, left click and hold. Notice now we have created an arc. Release. Once more, I'm going to create another arc. Left click and hold. and connecting this point to this end point. So in addition, notice the inferred tangent constraint. I'm going to release. Okay, so I want you to practice creating an arc coming from a line. So once more, left click and hold, release, left click and hold, and connect this to the other end point. Hitting escape. I'm going to delete this excess slot. Hitting delete and focus on this sketch. Next, let's apply constraints. Once more, this line needs to be perfectly horizontal. With this selected, I can head up, selecting horizontal, and hit F8 to check. So notice these two lines are already parallel, which means this is already horizontal. And to prove that, as I grab horizontal constraint and apply this to this line, notice I am over constraining. Selecting cancel. Let's add the circles, hitting Ctrl Shift C, dropping them on this center points, left click, and the diameter for this hole to be 10. So with that, I'm going to hit D for dimension, selecting this circle, placing our dimension here, key in 10, hitting enter. Dimension tool still active, selecting this center point, the distance between them to be 80, hitting enter. And lastly, I want the center point of our sketch aligned with our origin. I'm going to create a line instead, creating a line from the center point to the center point, turning this line into a construction entity, selecting this, right click, selecting construction, and finally heading up, selecting coincident, selecting the midpoint and our origin, hitting escape. And finally, we need to define the radius of this arc, hitting D once more, selecting this arc, and the value to be 10. Hitting enter. And finally, of course, the circle should be the same or equal in diameter with this circle. Heading up, selecting equal, selecting these two circles. Hitting escape, and instead of heading up, selecting finish sketch, our next intent is to create an extrusion. I can simply hit E for extrude. Prompted to select a profile. That profile is this area highlighted in red. And of course, best practice at the center, which means we have to select symmetric. And for the thickness, it's 10. And finally, selecting OK. They say the only constant thing in this world is change. And yes, it also applies to design, which is we encounter revisions, design changes all the time. With that, let me reiterate our learnings in part design and constraints, and this time doing a revision. Let's head over to link.ipt, and our intent is to revise this part, acquiring these changes. Heading back to Inventor, In this challenge, these two holes will now become a cylindrical extrusion, and this cut extrusion will be removed. Let's start with the simplest one, which is simply deleting this extrusion. So recall the importance of how your features relate to constraints and how they stack together. So our latest or last feature created is simply the extrusion. I can left click and simply hit delete. There's no need for the sketches that was created as well. So I'm going to tick consume sketches and features, selecting OK. Our next intent is to remove the holes. Heading back to our browser tree, selecting extrusion 1, left click. Next, right click and selecting edit feature. Notice the number of profiles selected. Let's increase this up by adding this profiles, left click, left click, left click, and left click. So we now have a simple piece of slot. Let's now select OK. Let's head over to our browser window, expanding extrusion 1. Notice the visibility of sketch 1 is currently turned off. I'm going to right click on this and enable its visibility. Okay, and recall, we have two circles here. With that, we can reuse that profile to create the cylindrical protrusion. And for us to have a perfect visibility of that sketch, I'm going to head over to the right, select this drop down, and let's enable wireframe. There it is. Let's now hit E for extrude, selecting this two profiles, heading over to top view. Let's change the direction from symmetric to flipped. Recall that we are also coming from the XY plane. In addition, we can perform mathematical operation in the dialog box. And on the 2D drawing, the thickness of the plate is 5. I can type in here 2.5, half of it, plus the required 15 millimeters. Hitting enter. Let's repeat that steps, hitting E for extrude, this time selecting this profiles, changing the direction, selecting default, heading to top view, and instead of 2.5 plus 15, this one should be, let's revise this to 10. Take note, operations should be joined, selecting OK. Let's head back to our navigation bar and revert this back to shaded with edges. And lastly, notice as I hit M for measure and select this edge, this is currently having a length of 10, which in our specifications, it needs to be 5. So with that, let's do another revision, hitting escape, heading to extrusion 1, right click, selecting edit feature, and instead of 10, revising this to 5. Selecting OK, hitting F6, and let's turn off the visibility of sketch 1. Selecting that on our browser tree, right click and disabling visibility. And for the fun part, let's have the parts link, plate, and a cross-link together as an assembly. To do that, we need to create a new file. So I'm going to head up, selecting new, and this time under assembly, I'm going to select standard millimeter.iam. Double left click. I prefer saving this right away. I'm going to hit Control S and naming this as ASCII rotator. Selecting save. Hitting F6 for isometric view. Let's now head up, selecting place. Prompted to select the target parts that we would like to bring in. Notice the parent, or to where these three parts are attached to, is the plate. So with that in mind, let's bring in plate first. I'm going to double left click on plate and left click. So notice it can give us an additional instance of that plate. So we only need one. I'm going to hit escape. And just a personal preference, I do prefer seeing things with edges. Recall when creating sketches, we have constraints. And in assembly mode, we have constraints as well. With that in mind, let's fully define the position of this part with respect to our assembly. Let's now select Constraint, and under Type, Mate is enabled. We are now prompted to make two selections. The selections that will represent our part and the selection for our main assembly. I'm going to head over to plate and expand this, heading over to our origin planes. So notice as I hover over, we are seeing the visibility of those planes. Let me start off with XZ. Next, prompted to select the second selection, which should be on our main assembly. Our main assembly has an origin planes as well. It's located in this origin folder. Hovering over to XZ. Selecting this, left click. And I'm going to hit OK for now. Hovering over, plate, left click, and hold. Okay, so notice as I head over to front view, as I move this up, it is locked in the XY plane. So with that, we need to add additional two constraints. Heading back to isometric view, and instead of heading up to relationships, I'm going to simply right click, selecting constraint, prompted for our first selection, moving over to our plate 1, selecting YZ for selection 2, moving to our main assembly, selecting YZ as well. So notice as I left click, notice that sound, selecting apply. And as we try to move this part, notice all of its degrees of freedom are fully locked in. Let's continue bringing in the parts required for this assembly. And I would like to show you my preferred way of bringing in the parts. I'm going to grab our project folder. And notice here, our next intent is to bring in cross-link and link. So I'm going to hold Control, select cross-link as well. Notice two parts selected. I'm going to left-click and hold. Notice the change of our cursor as we head over to a blank area of our graphics window. I'm going to release. And now, as quick as that, we have the two parts imported into our assembly. Let's continue adding constraints. So our link goes into our plate. I'm going to right click, selecting constraint. And this time, because this cylindrical protrusion will go into this hole, I'm going to select the insert type. Moving our assembly, zooming in and selecting this cylindrical edge, moving into plate, selecting this cylindrical edge, left click, hitting OK. And obviously, we need to have another instance of link. To create a copy of link, it's simply heading over to our browser window, selecting link. I'm going to left click and hold, drag and drop. Let's repeat the procedure. Right click, selecting constraint, enabling insert type, selecting this cylindrical edge, moving to our plate, selecting this cylindrical edge, selecting apply, and for our crosslink, it's the same method. Insert enabled, selecting this cylindrical edge, selecting OK. Let me move this up. Let's right click once more, selecting constraint, enabling insert, selecting this cylindrical edge and this cylindrical edge, selecting OK. And as I left click and hold, we are now seeing the effect of those constraints. And congratulations, we have made our first assembly. Okay, so yep, that concludes our, let me share my other screen. That concludes our essentials of sketching, okay, part modeling and assembly in Autodesk Inventor. So yeah, that was carefully prepared for you guys. Even your younger siblings can also do that. Okay? Mario, we are now open for questions.
Yes,
Okay?
sir. Yes, sir. Okay, so thank you very much, Engineer Jomark, for the educational session. Napakarami kong natutunan, no? From basic sketching, part modeling, and basic assembly. Nakagawa pa tayo ng simpleng 4-bar mechanism. No? Napakaganda. Okay, so I'm sure the participants learned new knowledge and skills after that, and I hope they continue to learn more. Now, before we end this workshop, we will hold a 15-minute Q&A session. So if you have any questions, no, this is your time. This is your chance to ask them. Okay? So to ask your questions, just send them in the comments section. Okay, it will show up here sa ating screen. Okay, sir. Habang naghihintay po, ako po, sir, may tanong din po ako. Okay lang po bang magtanong, sir? Kasi po last time, no last Machine Design Summit, nagturo din po ang MechaniWeb sa atin ng Autodesk Fusion 360 naman. Tapos nakita ko kanina parang medyo similar din yung mga certain functions tulad dun sa constraints, ganyan. So ano naman po yung very special pagdating po sa Autodesk Inventor?
Ayan, so great question, no? Well, number one for our uh, not only, of course, not only for students, okay, but of course, learning many softwares, no? Number one is an advantage. You'll never know, 'di ba? Na yung papasukan nyo or the job that you are applying for may possibly use Fusion or Inventor. But the main difference between the two is, I guess, Fusion 360 is more on catered to CNC. Ayan,
Mm.
woodworking. Okay, and I guess one of the difference is the price. Fusion 360 is much cheaper. Okay, Fusion 360 is more brand new. Okay, Inventor is on the same level with SolidWorks. Ayan, SolidWorks, and I forgot the other one from Siemens. Okay, so but for me, I have a huge interest in building information modeling, creating building structures. Okay, guys? So the best, of course, the best software for that is Autodesk Inventor. Meron siyang, it has a special linkage uh, to Revit. Okay, so I hope you have seen a while ago the video that we made. Nakita nyo ba yon? So imagine though that ano no, that machine, okay, will be inserted into a building. Now that is a seamless transition between Autodesk Inventor and Revit. Okay, so that's the main thing. And I guess, not I guess pala, no? It's definitely sure na each softwares, may it be the competitors of Autodesk, has its own strengths and weaknesses, guys. So, what I can say is, alamin nyo lahat. Learn as much as you can. What I taught you a while ago are the very essentials. So, it will be easy for you, for those who are very much new to CAD. If you've learned Inventor from this session, it would be easy for you to transition definitely to other softwares. And may tanong pa ba? Kasi kung wala, I would like to share more resources to you guys. Kasi, of course, we can always continue this conversation sa ating mga communities.
Sige po, sir.
Meron pa ba?
Habang naghihintay po tayo ng tanong.
Yep.
Sige po.
Tsaka may raffle draw pa tayo. So, here, I made the quick search in LinkedIn. Again, I made the quick search in LinkedIn. Pwede sir. Pwede sir Raven.
Ayan po.
Raven, Rada. Anything. Anything, may it be entrepreneurship, career, I'm open to help you out, guys. But let me just share a quick tip again, no? I do this all the time to, most especially to young ones. Ayan. Sir Ron, from Perth, I am mechanical, nice president, very any alternative for like SolidWorks? Well, Sir Ronald, you remember, I remember tuloy Sir Roy Closa. So, I'm not sure if you're relatives, but I remember Sir Roy Closa. Roy Closa. He was monumental to me in landing a job in Emerson Network Philippines. So, thank you to him. Thank you so much, Sir Ronald. You've already mentioned the alternative. But of course, again, it depends on your budget. What phase are you in your business or in your company? But of course, mostly kasi tayo mga engineers, we cared so much about our designs, we forgot the aspect of the economic aspect of things. Ayan, so I have seen many companies starting from freelance all the way up. So SolidWorks, yes, that's the head-to-head competition of Inventor, but CATIA, NX, those are high-end. Okay, and again, as mentioned earlier, each has its own strengths, weaknesses, and preferences of the industry. Ayan, so tandaan nyo yan guys. So, depende sa industry din. So, i-chat nyo na lang din ako for further conversations. Ayan, difference between Inventor and AutoCAD. Okay, I remember a few years ago, I trained a Japanese firm. They were transitioning from AutoCAD to Inventor. Well, the difference is Inventor packs in so much information. Diba? So, for example, diba? I created a line and extruded that. It can contain information. Miss Irene Lumagbas. Not, 'di ba, sa AutoCAD, if it's a line, it can only contain a length, 'di ba? It does not contain engineering properties. Like if ever I assigned this part component to be a steel, 'di ba? So it packs in so much information, and from that, if I define this, let's say aluminum 6061, brought into simulation, 'di ba? We can do that. AutoCAD cannot do simulation. I can do powerful rendering here as well.
Meron din po tayong tanong para sa ating inter-high competition. What is the main purpose po ng competition na yun? What po other parts?
Hindi ko gets yung competition. Actually, no competition guys, collaboration. Ako I prefer
Opo.
the term collaboration.
I think I can
But,
answer this po. Are you only allowed to... Yes, I think may constraint tayo dun sa mechanics ng inter-high competition. We can use other parts. So siguro, using Autodesk Inventor, we can also create other parts. Pero may restriction lang na, I think, at least 2 household items yung gagamitin. So sir,
okay.
yun din pala yung tatanong ko regarding din that. Kasi, ayun, meron din po bang parang library or parang na pwede pong pagkukunan ng mga common items na
Yeah,
ginagamit?
okay. Yeah, isa pa yan. There's this technology in Inventor na lamang din siya from the rest, which is AnyCAD. Okay? So, AnyCAD, which means it has a great translation or conversion of other CAD files. Okay, so I'm a fan of. Have you heard this, Mario? GrabCAD?
Yes, sir. Yung
Ayan,
community
so,
po na yan. Doon po ako
oo.
kumukuha ng mga pag kailangan ko ng mga pre-made na popular stuff.
Ayan, oo. So, I utilize this always when, for example, I would like to render a room, an interior room. Kailangan ng mga laman nun. I'll bring that over to Inventor, translate that. Ang ganda ng translation ng Inventor eh. And then, I'll bring it over to Revit. Revit has connectivity with Lumion and Enscape. Ewan ko kung familiar kayo guys, yung mga nakikita yung architectural design renderings. Nako, if ever na mechanical engineer kayo, mapupunta kayo doon. Napakagaling nyo. Kasi, di ba, architectural stuff are parang mostly square, rectangles, circles. It's not moving parts, di ba? Imagine your knowledge being a mechanical engineer brought into architecture. Great advantage. As I've mentioned earlier when we're talking to the organizers, to you guys. Ayun, about sa lesson competition, hindi ko alam yung competition, but
Sir, okay lang po. Hindi po
but
scope
I'm
ng
going to share tons of learning materials to you all starting now. But first, trabaho muna. Guys, di ba, it is very much parang inculcated to our minds that after you work, di ba, after you graduate, you work. Guys, do not think that kind of mentality, 'di ba? Student ka pa lang, you can have your own business, you can do freelancing, you can earn. Okay? So, sharing to you some tips on how to earn your freelance job. If ever you get to be, you get to be very conversant inventor. So, I made a quick search, di ba? BIM developer, building information modeling. Uh, I made the search, Autodesk Inventor. I told you guys earlier, if you're into building design, napaka-related ng ano yan, ng Inventor. So, yeah, eto. So, probably if I'll be looking for a job, I'll be searching for the recruiter of DOCA. Okay? I'm going into DOCA na. People. Okay? Philippines. Making a search now, diba? Philippines. So, from here, I'll be connecting with the country HR partner. Guys, you should be networking not not after you have graduated. You should be networking right now, being a student. Okay, I suggest you connect with these people, the HR and the possible hiring managers, 'di ba, in DOCA, and then that's it. And the reason for LinkedIn is a database. Okay, so for jobs, nag-highlight yan, kaparan niya sa akin. The recruiter made a keywords. So sa akin, because this is logged into my profile, diba? Nag-check, computer-aided design. So, I want you all, challenging you all to acquire yung mga certifications na yan and keywords. Those are all, very, very powerful. And, eto share ko din sa inyo, challenging you guys to take the Autodesk Inventor exam. Balikan nyo nga ako. Probably siguro after a month. Let me know who passed the exam. Ako hindi ko pa siya tinitake kasi ako yung gumawa ng exam. Ako yung gumawa ng exam. So, ayan. Pero ako din gumawa ng sa Fusion. Sa SolidWorks hindi ako. Pero, ayan. For example, ito. I took up AutoCAD. O imagine this, Mario, di ba? 2.2 million na nag-take na yung exam. I belong to the upper 5%.
Wow. Magaling kayo, sir,
Matanda na ako, sir. Anyways, kayo ang ine-expect ko, guys. 'Di ba? My mission nowadays, guys, is of course, 'di ba? Paano magkakaroon ng improvement yung mankind if hindi nata-transfer yung knowledge, hindi nalalagpasan. So, challenging you guys to, I don't know, take the 1% of that. Ano yun? Isa lang yung mali. 'Di ba? And it's a great way to to level up your credibility, 'di ba, for looking jobs. And legit 'yan. It's LinkedIn. Content ng exam, the content of the exam is it's in multiple choice. Okay, multiple choice. Ayan, and it's timed question. Parang din, board exam. Okay, but I suggest if you take the exam, you open the software alongside you para And I'm extremely excited to see those badges na lalabas diyan after a few days, a few months.
Ayun po pala, sir. I think many of our participants right now are also wondering. Ang alam po kasi nila is meron po tayong required output for this workshop. So, ano po kaya yung kailangan nating gawin para i-test ang ating mga natutunan for today? Yan.
Okay, so I'll be placing the challenge. Anyways, you can screen capture naman kanina, no? You can watch the replay. But the condensed replay, I will upload it here. Okay, announcement once more, shout out, attention. Please check this link. I want you to head over here. Let's continue the discussion with regards to Autodesk Inventor alone. I'll be posting and answering your questions here. We'll be posting the condensed version dito, pati yung output. But the output is simply, I want you to recreate this assembly.
Mm.
Okay?
So, same lang po
Simple as
sa
that.
ating ginawa kanina.
Yep.
Yes.
And if ever after a few weeks, how about I see you recreate that using other software? Diba?
Pwede
That would
po.
be so much fun. Okay, and the reason as well, I am encouraging everyone to connect with me in LinkedIn because I can share learning resources. So, eto, I opened up Mario, Lance, Jerry, Kirby, the Autodesk Inventor 2022 Essential Training. I'm gonna be sharing it now. Ayan. So, if you are in LinkedIn, drop into my profile. Ito na po, guys. Let me just customize the message. I made it free for all attendees of Autodesk Inventor Infinite. Mali pa spelling. Infinite possibilities. With the link below. Okay? Thanks. Hashtag UP. Here's. Opinions na lang. Ayan. Comment down mamaya if you have seen or you have accessed this course.
Yes, guys.
Ano pa
Punta
ba?
tayo sa LinkedIn and react tayo and comment sa post ni Sir para
Community
magka-connect din tayong lahat.
Yeah, network, guys. It's an advantage.
May nagtatanong din po kanina paano daw ba nagne-network? So, one way we can do it is, ayun, mag-LinkedIn lang tayo lahat na nandito. Mag-connect lang tayo sa isa't isa. Kagandahan na nandito tayo ngayon sa Machine Design Summit is that group together tayo with like-minded individuals. So, we can start with this, no? So, punta tayo sa LinkedIn ni Sir. Isa-send natin sa comments yung link. So,
okay. Yep.
yan.
So, for example, let me continue na lang din siguro, no? Doka. Okay, I'll be making a search here. Doka, BIM, Revit, Philippines, LinkedIn. Mali pa spelling ko, pero I'm seeing Roland Kiambao. Okay? And guess what? He may probably be the hiring manager, yung magiging boss mo sa trabaho na to. BIM developer, 'di ba? Okay? Engineering manager nga, ito magiging boss. Kasi civil engineer. So, the first thing that you'll do, guys, is to connect. And as always, I want you to customize the note. 'Di ba? Kahit ako if someone connects with me, hindi ko alam, tapos nakita ko hindi naman siya mechanical engineer, ano mangyayari sa atin? Baka magbebenta ka lang
merong context pagka tayo.
Yeah, may people, 'di ba, buy from someone they trust. May similarity man lang, 'di ba? Or for example, make a quick search kay Sir Roland Kiambao in Facebook. You found out he also plays guitar. Why not mention that, 'di ba?
Tama, sir.
'Di ba? So, yun guys, the thing with networking is may mga tao na galit sa networking, they think of it negatively. Pero guys, let me say this to you. Sino ba mag-aangat sa'yo? Sarili mo ba o yung mga nasa paligid mo? Di ba? Ang mag-aangat sa'yo, guys, hindi mo pwedeng sabihin, nagtagumpay ako all because of me. That's BS, no? Bachelor of Science. There's probably a person who helped you, who referred you, who mentored you, and it all came from networking. Simple as that. Okay, Balikan nyo ako if you have access to the course, and highly suggesting you download the LinkedIn Learning app. Even in CR bathroom, sometimes it's a waste of time sitting down. I bring my phone, I open up LinkedIn Learning, I watch something new. I watch an educational video. Sila nga, tumagal ng onti tuloy sa kakapanood ng ano. But may other simple machine lang po ba ang output na hinihingi ng Butter app? Yep, not familiar with Butter app.
We will address all competition-related questions in a separate post. Also, siguro mag-email na lang po kami sa participants natin ulit regarding that. Okay.
Yep,
So, meron pa
hoping
po
to
bang questions? Okay.
Yep. Hoping to see you all in Autodesk Inventor. So, sabi ni Miss Irene, sir, kita na po ang course. Ayan.
Yeah.
Pero I'll be again condensing this live stream for the benefit yung manunood ng replay and future learners.
Yeah.
Okay, so yep, I guess that's it. Thank you so much, Mario.
Okay, sir.
Thank you to everyone in UP Gears and Pinions. My journey in CAD started out by doing free and I was blessed by tons of like Sir Roy Closa, yung sinasabi ko kanina, people na nag-help me, nagturo ng libre sa akin. So hoping guys you share, you pay it forward after this. I am super excited to see you all being a master of these CAD softwares and make a difference, 'di ba? Iangat natin ang Pilipinas with technology. Hoping to see you all sharing your knowledge, being a speaker, sharer, instructor sa ating Autodesk CAD community. Aantayin ko yan. Excited ako sa inyo.
Okay po, sir. Maraming salamat po. Sana nga maging stepping stone ang workshop na ito para sa ating participants. Siguro one day maging katulad tayo ni Sir, ni Engineer Joe Mark, na baka one day baka tayo rin yung nagwo-workshop sa ibang mga estudyante. Okay. So salamat and thank you to those who sent their questions, and thank you also to Engineer Joe Mark for answering the questions. Let us now proceed to the presentation of certificates. Okay. So as a token of gratitude, I hereby present our certificate of appreciation on behalf of UP Gears and Pinions. The UPGPs presents the certificate to Engineer Jomark Bakiran for imparting his valuable knowledge as a guest speaker on Machine Design Summit Online 2022 CAD for Dummies Autodesk Inventor Workshop, given this 9th day of April. Okay. Thank you, sir. We appreciate the workshop you gave, and I know that the audience learned a lot from it. Okay, so now I would like to call on Mr. Jerry Jan Havar for the closing remarks. Okay, Jerry, take it away.
Hello. Ayan, ayun, feel ko nasabi naman na lahat ng kailangan masabi. So, once again, I'm thanking all of our participants for listening through, for listening to the workshop for this year, Autodesk Inventor Workshop. Ayan, so hope you all learned something from today sa Inventor man or pati na rin sa networking. Ayan, tulad ng sinabi ni Sir kanina. So, ayan, thank you everyone for participating in this workshop, and hope to see you all in the next workshop. Ayun lang, thank you.
Okay. So, thank you, Jerry, for the closing remarks. And that has been Machine Design Summit 2022 Workshops. Autodesk Inventor Infinite Possibilities. Napakahaba ng title. Okay, once again, thank you, Sir Engineer Joe Mark, for being here with us today. And we are also very grateful to our participants and viewers for being here. Siyempre, di ba? Araw ng kagitingan ngayon, holiday, pero nandito tayo para matuto kahit na holiday. So, sana marami nga kayong natutunan at sana naging fun ang event na ito para sa inyo. Okay, so this event would not be possible without the help of MechaniWeb. So, thank you very much, MechaniWeb. Also to our official media partner, wheninmanila.com. Thank you. I would also like to thank Mr. Uh, okay. Sige, mamaya na natin siya i-thank. So if you had fun and would like to engage more in events like this, you may visit, like, and follow our official Facebook page at facebook.com/Machine Design Summit. Ayan, naka-flash sa ating screen. Yeah. Yeah. So if you want to learn more, improve your designing skills, or participate in workshops like this, so syempre marami pang katulad nito na workshop. So mga gusto nyo, you may want to look up the Facebook page of MechaniWeb at facebook.com/MechaniWeb. Okay. And also, don't forget to check out When in Manila's website, wheninmanila.com, for regularly updated blogs, discoveries, and stories about Manila, Philippines, and even the world. I hope today's event was very helpful and educational para sa lahat. I also hope that you use what you learned today as a stepping stone towards your career paths in the future. I am Mario Inzon, your host for today. Thank you, everyone, and have a great evening. Thank you.